Welcome to Movies and Milk, a new short form review series where I talk about a movie that's just come out in about as much time as it takes to drink a glass of milk. And of course, since we're talking about Elvis, we're drinking full fat milk because if you know anything about Elvis, well, you could probably finish that joke yourself. Priscilla is the new film by Sofia Coppola about Priscilla Presley. This is basically about their contentious and controversial relationship based on Priscilla Presley's own memoir. Now, I can be a bit up and down on Coppola's work, but I do think this is her most accomplished film to date, and I definitely think she was the right choice for this story. The film manages to be both naturalistic and stripped down when it has to, but also being grandiose and otherworldly, and that really reflects the change in Priscilla's world, in those worlds she's kind of swept up in by this romance. So those expecting a hit piece on Elvis will probably be disappointed. It doesn't outright call him a predator or her a victim. Instead, it just shows the kind of insensitive and callous nature that Elvis could have. And certainly through modern eyes, regardless, it seems like this was kind of a case of grooming. But it asks the audience to reflect on it themselves and come to their own conclusions. The film really manages to reflect how Priscilla feels trapped by the end. Graceland and the bedroom start to feel very claustrophobic, and it seems like we see less and less sets, and instead are kind of forced to imagine what Elvis is doing, which really does a great job in making us relate to Priscilla, but also manages to do a good job of keeping the focus on her story, which is what this film should be. Performance-wise, we have Elordi as Elvis, who we recently saw in Saltburn, and he is really good as Elvis. It's a performance where he's kind of a bit charismatic, but at times haunted. It feels like a more portrayal of the man as opposed to the icon, and that's what really works. But he feels like a presence throughout the film, even when he's not on screen, and that's how Priscilla would no doubt have felt. But of course, as Priscilla, we have Cailee Spaeny, who steals the show. She has a timidness and a tenderness to her, and really feels very passive in her own film at times, and it really gets the audience behind her as she starts to grow a bit more independence and sort of looks for a life of her own as she throws off the idea of this teenage fantasy. Elvis's music is not in the film, but it actually strangely works. It keeps the focus away from the man and the performer and instead on Priscilla, which is what's needed. In that regard, this kind of feels like the sobering compliment to the boozy spectacle that was Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. My biggest criticism for the film would probably be its pacing. It feels like it starts with a lot of fun energy and then just kind of limps to a finish. And while this might sound like a contradiction, it also feels kind of rushed towards the end, like they're kind of cramming a lot of story. Priscilla has got milk. That sounds weird when it's a person's name. It's a good movie, go see it.